Hey, everybody, we have a huge announcement. Yeah, huge announcement today. Me and Cooper are going to be joining with Jack Black. We are the new members of Tenacious D.
Is that? Oh, because you said the Trump thing?
Yeah, that other guy said the Trump thing, so we're now going to be part of Tenacious D. It's called Tenacious Donald. It's very tenacious of him to survive that bullet.
Okay, yeah. So, a lot of the old songs are about like how rock and roll is cool. And we now just have songs about how the Supreme Court is a bunch of fucking idiots.
Yeah.
And the IRS is bad.
Yeah, check out our next song, Project 2025, Rock Style.
I mean, I guess honestly,
Rock and Roll Project 2025.
if you were a pro-Trump band, some of the lines could be similar to punk lines. If you're just like, prison sucks, our justice system is broken.
Yeah. If you listen to it, like, damn, this is like leftist?
Yeah, taxes are a fraud.
Yeah.
And then it would be like, my daughter's hot. And then you're like, wait a minute. And then you don't know.
But yeah, what are some Tenacious D songs we're going to have to change because they don't fit with the new regime?
That's really weird. Jack Black got mad at, I think his name is Kyle Gass, right?
Yeah, he probably didn't even get mad. He was probably just like, well, my agents told me I'm fucked if I don't, like, let this guy go. This guy I've been close friends with for 30 years.
But how is he fucked?
I don't know. I don't know.
Like, in the midst of all this, Tenacious D.
It doesn't make any sense.
A comedy duo that's been around
and they're like, you
15
can't make jokes.
And now, I mean, I just can't, unless Jack Black is like really big on Trump and we just don't know and it hit a personal chord.
I think he was doing some shit for Biden.
I mean, that's why it doesn't make sense. Is like, I understand that Jack Black is like mainstream, so I guess he's not necessarily going to be the kind of guy who's like, yeah, we should kill people running for president.
Yeah.
But still, it's like, Jack Black, you're not 2005 School of Rock Jack Black. It's 2024.
Yeah.
It's like, shit is so crazy. I mean, Kathy Griffin did the decapitated head. She could voice somebody in a new Bugs Life movie. Like, nobody's going to say anything. I mean, all that shit. Like, what? Why would he personally be worried? Or like is Jack Black's entire fan base Donald Trump's fan base?
They because Jack Black's fat, Donald Trump's fat. They just
fat
feel like,
guy stuff.
Yeah, it might be fat guy related stuff.
Do you think? Well, Kyle is even fatter than Jack.
Well, he
so
kind of race tradered the fat community with that statement. I think.
What do you mean? Everybody's white, or you mean he attacked another fat?
Yes, he fat tradered.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Kyle was fat phobic.
Yeah.
So you think, because what he said was like, I wish he was a better shooter or something.
Yeah.
So you think that he said that because the only reason he doesn't like Donald Trump is because he's fat and he thinks he should die and be shot in the head for being fat. And then Jack Black clocked that and was like, Tenacious D is not a fat phobic band.
I think that might be the case.
So you think this is a purely?
I mean, think about it. I wish he had a better shot. It's like, what are you saying? Like that guy, that it was easy?
Maybe he was saying
that it was easy because he's so huge.
Maybe he was saying he wished Donald Trump had a better shot at nutritional intelligence, which not a lot of people in America have. We have we have a terrible diet, and a lot of people, you feel really bad for them. They just don't know even what to buy at a market that's possibly healthy.
Jack Black has not considered that maybe he was actually making a very, like, not fat phobic point.
So
maybe in the next couple days when this episode's released, they'll have some sort of, like, reunion, and they'll be like, hey, I know when you said that the shooter should have made the shot.
Yeah.
That
when they both
you were being anti-fat.
Right. When they both listen to this podcast.
To the Dagnabbit boys, who are officially members of Tenacious D.
It's a weird casualty. If you told us when the Tenacious D movie came out that these guys are going to break up due to one of their comments on the assassination of former President Donald Trump. If you said former, they'd be like, wait, what? It's very interesting.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying is things are so confusing. It doesn't seem like that could still matter enough to break up a band.
Yeah.
If it was like 1960 and then one of them was like, I'm glad they shot John F. Kennedy. Yeah. People really had a big belief in our country and the president.
Yeah. If the Beatles were like, JFK's brains, I love it that he's dead.
I mean, you have to think about like the assassination of JFK or even the attempted assassination of Reagan is like, at that time, there was still this underlying belief in the country.
Yeah.
And a standard, and that things like that broke that standard and made us scared of going down to a level that scares us.
Yeah.
But I feel like
politicians are fronting.
I feel like we're so beyond that Donald Trump getting shot doesn't feel like a breaking of a standard. It feels like exactly par for the course.
Yes.
That you would expect it completely. It was one of the first things people said when he was really the running mate, the main guy the first time, the nominee.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been talked about of like people are going to want to shoot this guy. And then a guy shoots him and we're like, and all these, I find it very odd that like a lot of these people were like, when I saw that video, I was disgusted.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think it's great that they believe in their country because I think it is sad in our country where we have people trying to shoot a president. Like that guy is treasonous for trying to shoot a political candidate, even if it's Donald Trump, who you could argue is treasonous himself, whatever. Yeah. But to act like, what have we become? It's like, I think we've been this for a very long time.
We've been pretty stupid for a very long time.
Yeah, and it's like our whole country's been run by people that we feel like we don't really know. You know what I mean? So it doesn't feel like the same country as 1960 when like all that CIA stuff was still ramping up. It's like we don't even know what we're looking at anymore.
Yeah.
So it's like when John F. Kennedy got shot, it felt like the most important guy in the country just got shot.
Yeah.
And then although Trump is not currently the president he is campaigning, it's still just like, even if he dies, it's like, I don't even know how much he was in control of. I don't even know what even affects that. Like, even if he was killed, you're like, I mean, now that the Trump hysteria, I guess, is gone, but it wouldn't be. He'd be martyred. I don't know.
Yeah. So I actually had a thought while you were talking that I think might sum this all up.
Yeah.
That maybe explains it a little bit. So, you know how on the podcast, a lot of times we'll be talking about very tragic things and using humor to cope with it? So maybe Kyle Gass was trying to cope with the attempted assassination of his favorite president, Donald Trump.
Yeah,
by using humor. And then Jack Black found out that he was very devastated by it. And then Jack Black was like, well, I'm not a part of the Trump train, so you have to leave.
Well, maybe he's like, I'm not a part of the Trump train, but I understand that you need time to mourn.
Oh,
the loss of Donald Trump's ear.
Oh, yeah. We think this is like some sort of betrayal, but in actuality, it's just the show of love and brotherhood. Like if your favorite president, Kamala Harris, if she got in trouble, I would give you some time. I would get somebody else on the podcast a little bit. We'd still hang out in your apartment because you have all the equipment.
Of course.
But I would get Terrence up in here. Me and Terrence would like probably have our friend of the podcast, Terrence.
Yeah, I mean, if Kamala Harris was grazed by a bullet, I know that within 2 minutes I'd get a call from you telling me, take as much time as you need. Because you know how much that lady fucking matters to me.
She matters a lot.
And
I mean, they can't see the rest of the studio, but there's Kamala Harris pictures everywhere. Yeah. You have like a really creepy one that's like those things on the dark web where you take someone's face and then it like guesses what their naked body would look like.
It's a deep fake.
It's a deep fake. He has a deep fake of Kamala Harris getting dicked down by 3 guys.
But it's fathead sized. If you remember fatheads, those like it's like a life size poster you can stick on your wall. It's like that.
And you don't think it's disrespectful because it's not her.
No.
It's just an expression of your sexual feelings.
It's kind of like a medieval painting where it's not just a picture of sex, it's a picture of the conception of our next greatest president.
Oh, yes.
Kamala Harris Jr.
And how hard it's going to be for her. Like she's kind of going to get a train run on her with what the last 2 presidents have left for us.
Exactly.
Yes.
But she's going to be the smartest person in the world.
She currently is probably the smartest person in the history of the world. And I know that I mean, I'm not a political guy. You're the political one on the podcast. I do know. I mean,
I'm so political.
You're very political.
I'm very political. I can make anything political.
We were walking down the street the other day. He saw some dog shit, and he picked it up and ate it, and he was like, I'm about to make this shit straight up political.
I was like, this is like pretty much how the DNC works.
Oh, yeah. And
I was just eating dog poop.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, I am a registered Democrat.
I walk around my neighborhood at night in the last couple days. There's a paper plate, and there's like a bunch of dog shit on it.
Well,
like, you think I'm going to eat this?
Johnny Dogshit, I don't know if you saw his live stream. It's the only way he makes announcements is an Instagram live stream.
Yeah.
And he said, tomorrow, dinner's on me. And if you noticed around, not on the sidewalks, but on the grass next to sidewalks in LA, there were paper plates with logs of dog shit on it. And written on the paper plate in Sharpie, it says, eat up, signed Johnny Dogshit. So That was what he meant by dinner for everybody. It's a turd per person, which is actually crazy because the population of LA, I mean, is like 5 million. It's like a lot.
It's 4 million people. So there are 4 million paper plates filled with dog shit on the side, on the grass of LA.
And that's like he did the whole county. So, you know, if you ever seen a map of LA, there's a really thin line that goes all the way down to the port in Long Beach. So Los Angeles can technically have a port. So he even got people within that very narrow jurisdiction.
You know what's crazy? It's one of the densest counties in the United States, maybe the densest. And right now it's densely filled with paper plates full of dog shit.
He's trying to make it denser.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's calling it the dense offensive.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's a good and bad thing because, as you know, the Uyghur population, which are Eastern Muslim people in China, they're not ethnically Han Chinese, so they've been discriminated against. But they're being genocide. They're waging a Holocaust on them. They're genociding them right now. Johnny Dogshit has actually been, I would say, saving, but kind of technically kidnapping Uyghurs from concentration camps and bringing them to LA. So he does save them, but he doesn't provide them any housing. He just wants more people in the city.
Yeah, it's part of his plan to get Skid Row up to 1 million.
Yeah, so he's doing that. You know what's funny? The bit we're doing right now is like literally just what Republicans think.
I mean, that's always been the bit, though, that they think that's...
But usually we're saying something so silly, like the dog shit thing. But now we're talking about importing. I mean, like literally, you talk to any Republican, they're like, "Well, the LA, they just bring in 2 million Mexicans per day."
Yeah, and it's part of the homeless industrial complex. I've heard that before. Homeless industrial complex.
Well, there's a big thing where they're like, Tucker Carlson talks about how California makes money off of homeless people. He doesn't go into it. He just keeps saying they make money. And I don't know what that means. I don't know. I mean, maybe if you're a sanctuary state, you get like some tax credits, but I don't think it's like bankrolling the state more than the tech industry or ports.
Yeah.
I don't think homeless people on the street are like, well, you know, I mean, Google, App, all these humongous companies. Yeah. But it's really the homeless people.
Google, Apple, Netflix, Swiggy.
I guess some of them have left.
Swiggy the bum.
Yeah, so there's a couple guys off Fig that make $2.8 million per year, just chilling. So that's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool that you can make money just smoking meth in front of the subway station.
I guess, like, if you're on Fox, it's like you are just doing what we do, but people take it seriously.
Oh, yeah.
So it's got to be even more fun.
Oh, yeah, dude. Fox is probably hilarious.
If you're that amoral as to just not give a fuck and be like, what if we believed that every time we said something about Johnny Dogshit, somebody out there thought all of it was real?
Yeah.
And it's like, that's what Jesse Waters does every day. He just goes, because he's a new tuck, he just goes and he just like angrily lies about things and smiles and just like spreads misinformation. Like, we were watching, did I tell you when we were watching Fox and like one of the news stories was literally about a Zoom meeting Trump had with billionaires, and it's just Trump charms billionaires. And it's like, as like a leftist, you're like, yeah, because he's a fucking slob money bag.
Yeah.
But then like Republicans watching, like, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, they're like, probably with his alpha charm. Republicans draw Trump really weird. They draw him like he's like buff.
Yeah,
they draw him like they want to fuck him.
They do it a lot. Yeah, there's a weird homoeroticism with Trump that was almost immediate. I feel like it was a weird thing of like the whole like men want to be him, women want to fuck him, and like everybody just like submitted to that. Like there's a big like submission, which is like not to act like my side's any cooler, but I didn't necessarily feel that with Bernie. I didn't think any of us were like we all like, definitely there was an idolization, but it was more of like we believe that he cares about us, but they really are like, you know, they'll talk about Trump of like, well, he's I love his figure.
You know why they hate trans people so much is they want the T in LGBT to stand for Trump.
Were they pushing for that?
They were pushing for that because they're so gay for Trump.
Yeah.
And then it got taken over. That T meant nothing for a very long time. Yeah. That T was just at the end because they were like, we should put like an M or a T at the very end.
It was just a placeholder? It didn't stand for
anything. Yeah.
Yeah, it stood for to be determined.
Yes.
Yeah, it used to be LGTBD. LGBTBD.
Yeah, it was LGBTBD. We'll decide when we've invented new stuff.
Right.
To piss off Republicans.
Right.
I love it. Do you remember that meeting we went to? I was your +1 of the gay committee where they were inventing new types of gay so they could make Republicans mad.
Yeah, it is fun to get a whiteboard out and just be like, just draw a starfish and be like, what if this was a penis?
Yeah, what if this was gay?
And then a bunch of people go, yes.
You're pulling up kids' cartoons or like, let's put some grooming up in this.
That is kind of one of my favorite like general theories that a lot of homophobes and Republicans have, is that these things are like created every year as like a new idea.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, I don't know, whatever. It's obvious. It's just.
Yeah, I mean, no one listening to this podcast is going to be like, wait, that's not true?
No, but it is just so funny. It's like, how do you live in a world where you think nothing is connected to anything?
Yeah.
Where you just think every day completely new things appear out of nowhere, out of the context of all of
they think Biden is like wearing like a one of those like blue poofball hats.
Yeah.
You know, and he's got like the fucking old pajamas, and he steps out of bed and a literal light bulb appears before him, and he's like, we got to invent non-binary.
Yeah,
I thought of a non-binary last night.
Yeah, or it's just like, yeah, it's like as if like trans people just wake up every day and they're just like, I'm a lady now, and it's been a weird last 10 years for this person. It's like long, and they're like, no, they just show up.
They show up, they cut off their penis, they put the penis in their ass.
They also seem to assume that trans people's lives get awesome when they start publicly presenting as like their new gender.
Well, they think it's awesome, and then they also are like, they attempt suicide, though. They do both of those things.
I don't really get what game they're playing. We're like, they run the world. Also, they're all sad and depressed.
Yeah.
And it's like...
They think the statistic they always say is 47% of, like, 40% of trans people attempt suicide, and it's like, yeah, because of your ass.
Yeah,
it's like your whole ass.
It's definitely not like getting the body you always wanted and then being like, now I'll kill myself.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely you being in her comments every day, being like, you're a man in a dress. Like,
they're like, when they find your bones, they're gonna be like, this was a dinosaur or whatever.
Yeah, it is so crazy to be like, these people kill themselves all the time. Anyway, when they find your fucking
like, they find your bones, they're gonna find out you're a man.
It's like, dude, you're talking about her bones. I think you might be contributing. I'm not even going to give you the power to say you are the reason.
Yeah, should be such a bigot. You're talking about people you want dead's bones.
I mean, it's crazy.
I don't even think the Nazis were like talking about motherfuckers' bones.
It's just it's all on the internet. There's a record of all of it. And yeah, to just be like, oh my God, I can't believe they want to kill themselves. Anyway, I'm going to tell them they should kill themselves every day. It's like, well, what do you want? Do you want them to be alive or not? And they want them dead because they're just hateful.
Yes.
But it's just like, also, I don't know. It's like nobody stands on anything anymore. That's why all these like bigots and shit are so ambiguous. Where it takes you 10 minutes before you're like, "Oh, you're just a white supremacist. Like you want to colonize the world with white people." Okay, thanks. You've wasted my time. With this runaround of tradition or whatever. And they always do it. But now, as time goes on, the onions get more layers.
Yeah, I guess that's crypto-fascist is the word.
What is that?
It's like you believe in fascism, but you don't want the like social points like taken away from you for being outright a fascist.
Why does the word crypto be used?
Dude, I don't know.
I think I'm relating it too much to the coins.
Yeah. Yeah,
Sorry.
It's before that.
Yeah.
They've been using crypto-fascists for a very long time.
Okay, I'm just dumb.
To describe the podcast, but we're not.
They're using it to describe our podcast.
We just had a big discussion about how it's bad to bully trans people.
Several times on this podcast, we have been forthright about our support of several groups.
Yeah, so we support all those groups. We support the redistribution of wealth. And we think that LA and California should be worse because we're leftist.
Yeah.
We believe all three of those things.
We believe all three of those things. So take it or leave it. And if anybody misunderstands or doesn't get the joke...
If anybody doesn't...
We will be so unreasonably offended. And we will act like you have no reason to not understand us.
Yes. Because we're very smart.
We're very smart, and every joke we make is not ambiguous.
Yes. Okay. Anyway.
So we can just stop the podcast forever now.
Oh, yeah, I think we figured it out. We got the big thing of being a Tenacious D. You're a paid regular. I got a famous comedy special on YouTube that's not a special. So I think we don't have to do this
the
podcast
boys are
anymore.
doing okay right now.
Yeah.
Shane released a 20-minute stand-up set on YouTube. He's only got 400 subscribers on his page. Go to his page, subscribe to it.
Yeah,
he's got 3,000 views. How cool is that?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. And Cooper paid regular, the youngest paid regular.
That's not true, but I am young, and I am a paid regular at the Comedy Store. So
yeah,
for everybody watching to keep up and see our lives get worse day by day, well, not this week.
Yeah. Next week.
Next week, probably not gonna be anything as good as the things we have to announce this week.
Yeah, and it actually is probably. Oh, well, it's coming out Thursday. What if things just go wrong Wednesday, tomorrow?
They could
go wrong. We could die. Like a very beloved comedian in the comedy scene died recently in a car wreck, and nobody expected it. Very beloved.
That's how that guy died?
Yeah, that's how I found out.
Huh.
Well, anyway, I have a new idea for a show. I mentioned it to you.
Yeah, what is it?
Okay, let me pull up my notes real quick. So this is a cartoon idea I have. So I don't know if you guys have noticed, but there are a lot of cartoons about a dog and a cat becoming friends. But there's also a lot of cartoons about a cat chasing a mouse and trying to kill the mouse. So my brilliant idea, why don't we mix them?
Mm-hmm.
We mix the shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's
a lot of notes on your phone, I can see.
I really thought about this.
You really thought about it. This is what you're acting like this is like a trending thing? With the cat and mouse.
Yes,
this is like hot right now.
It's very hot. The cat and the mouse thing, and historically
Jerry,
and right now. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of who.
So I thought we'll mix them.
Cat dog. Okay.
So it's a dog and a mouse, and they're friends, but they have a love-hate relationship. And the owner of the dog wants him to find the mouse and kill him. But they start to kind of slowly notice, their similarities. But they still have kind of a love-hate relationship. There's a lot of differences between the two. It's heavily inspired by Looney Tunes and and Tom and Jerry, of course, and also very heavily influenced by adult animation such as BoJack Horseman and Duckman. So there's a lot of slapstick comedy, and there's also a lot of drama. The show's called Ming Mong and Butter Dog.
Ming Mong?
Ming Mong and Butter Dog.
Is Ming Mong the mouse?
Ming Mong's the dog.
Okay.
And then Butter Dog is the mouse.
Okay, so that doesn't make a lot of sense. But what's Ming Mong about?
Well, it's just like, how the creative process works. I just had the idea.
What's the dog like? Like, what does the dog sound like? Okay.
He like he just kind of talks like kind of slowly, one word sentences.
It's not like a Chinese dog?
No. Why would it be that? Let me read my description of the characters.
Okay.
So Butter Dog. Butter Dog is a mouse who loves to get into all sorts of mouse hijinks.
Okay.
He lives in a mouse hole and smokes a fuck ton of weed, LOL. Smart and capable.
Is that you laughing at the thing you wrote, LOL?
I think that's kind of everyone laughing because he smokes a fuck ton of weed and he's a mouse.
So everybody watching when they
when they hear that, they're gonna laugh out loud and they're gonna be very happy.
Does he look like Jerry? I guess.
Yeah, he's a little grayer than Jerry. He's gray. He's got like a white belly.
Okay.
And so yeah, Ming Mong is the dog. He's very clumsy and ditzy, yet intelligent in equal measure. He's actually a very intelligent dog. You know my roommate Mikey? Imagine him, but like a fucking dog. So if you guys out there know my roommate Mikey, imagine Mikey, but a dog.
Okay.
He's in fear of his abusive owner, Julius Human. He is at odds with his desire to please his owner by killing Butter Dog and his need for the freedom represented by his friendship with Butter Dog.
Is this like a metaphor for something?
No, what do you mean?
Okay, let's keep
going.
What do you? I don't know. It's just interesting because you're talking about this overarching power that like wants these two groups to fight each other, and the sort of oppressive force is like
that doesn't sound like anything in history.
Feeling some okay.
That doesn't sound like anything.
Anything currently either?
Yeah.
Like in our own nation or
no,
okay.
no.
All right,
no.
Cool. Keep going.
So the next character is their next door neighbor. His name is Dr. Kitty. It's not Doctor. His middle name is Tur. He's their next door neighbor. He is a human. He's a 70s acid casualty and Vietnam War veteran.
Acid casualty?
Yeah, he got so fucked up. He did a lot of acid in the jungles of Vietnam. It fucked his brain up. Yes, just imagine kind of a hippie-ish looking guy. You know, he's got like
Doc Kitty.
Dr. Kitty.
Yeah.
He's a human.
Okay.
And he's incredibly scared of loud noises and gunshots, which sucks because the show takes place in a very bad part of Houston. It's a very bad part of Houston.
All right.
He likes both of the cat and the dog, but he hates and fears their owner, the devious Julius Human.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I think I can feel you loving it.
I'm just kind of wondering, like, how does he come into play, and who's he representing?
He doesn't. These guys, they don't represent anything. They just kind of represent like it's just like a very human sort of struggle.
So it's okay. It's not at all that like Julius Human is kind of like sort of a shadow government or our leaders, and then Ming Mong is sort of like their forces of oppression, like the police and stuff, and then Butterdog is sort of the civilians.
I don't know where you're getting any
and
of this
the dog
stuff.
And the dog and Butterdog have something in common, which is they're actually both under the thumb of the Overlord, but
I wouldn't call him an overlord. Let me.
There's
all right.
Dr. Kitty, he's a casualty of.
He's a casualty of the Vietnam War and acid.
Okay.
He's his brain's
so
all
you could
fucked
say
up.
kind of both the government in both ways fucked him up.
The audience is hearing this shit.
CIA,
they're hearing this shit. You're trying to make it political.
The CIA was selling most of the acid back then, so yeah.
Well, let me just describe.
His whole life is kind of orchestrated. He was drafted. He was given acid. You know, it's like, think about it.
I get what you're trying to get
but
at.
You're not. None of this is. This
none of this is intentional.
This is just a cartoon.
This is a cartoon. It's
so
for children.
I'm being an
It's
asshole.
for children.
Okay.
Yes.
This is for kids.
It's for children.
Why does him being an acid casualty? I mean, how does that even come into the fray? Is that like episode 8?
Okay. It's first episode.
First episode, we're hearing this. That like
yes. I mean, we have to establish all the characters.
Is that just implied? Is that even ever said, or is he just?
It's said.
Like,
yes.
It's said.
It's said.
That's even weirder.
Well, with the Adventure Time and stuff, they have a lot of edgy themes. I thought, this will probably be fine. I'm trying to pitch it to Nickelodeon.
So it's kind of a teen cartoon, young adult, maybe?
Kids, teens. I think even some adults might enjoy it.
Okay, well, keep going.
Julius Human, this is our last character. He is the owner of Ming Mong, and he's also a cat. He is prone to violent outbursts exacerbated by his wanton drug use. His most favorite drug is Sherm. He's often seen dunking cigarettes into a perfume-shaped bottle, which is loaded with formaldehyde. He pushes Ming Mong to capture Butterdog and kill him.
Okay, so their owner is a cat who does PCP. He's an abusive dog owner who bought the dog after Butterdog. Like, he had the mouse and then was like, I gotta get rid of this mouse, so he gets the mouse. Or the mouse showed up and he's trying to push. It's just whatever. It doesn't matter.
I have an overview of the first two scenes with dialogue written down. So if you're interested, a lot of this is explained.
Maybe if I could just shut up for a second.
Yeah. Maybe I don't know. Maybe quite trying to. So this is a snippet from the first episode.
Great. Yeah.
So Julius comes home from work. He is holding a broken bottle of beer, the shards from which is stabbing into his hand. He is so fucked up. He has no clue the bottle is broken. He calls for Ming Mong, who arrives quickly. Julius. Ming Mong, get your juicy ass over here. I got a mission for you. Remember the other night when I got so wet out of my mind and drilled a mouse hole into the wall because I thought the neighbors were making fun of me for not having those in our place? Well, a mouse is living in there and he's fucking up the equilibrium of the house. He's doing to us what Hamas is doing to the beautiful country of Palestine, making us all look fucked up and stupid and deserving of retaliation. I need you to find him and fuck him all up murder style. You understand? Ming Mong. Yes, sir. Julius Human. Good doggy. All right, I'm going to go over to the neighbor's house and tell them we got a mouse problem too, so they shut the fuck up, and I'll maybe kidnap their kids and hold them for ransom or something. Peace out. That's the first bit of dialogue.
Okay. Well, what stuck out to me most was an interesting point about Hamas, where because you said the mouse is similar to Hamas.
I think a lot of this stuff
because it is giving a bad name to a good house, which is the house they live in. Okay, so I guess you could say that the perspective of the owner is the same as like the PLO or like the people who the Palestinian Authority, the other ruling factor in Palestine that seems to critique Hamas, but you still sounded pro-Palestine because you were supportive of the Palestinian people.
I don't get where this is coming from.
You know I forget the name, but you put a lamp on stage, you're going to use the gun on stage, whatever, you're going to use it by the end of the play. Like,
it's called Chekhov's gun.
Okay, so you're putting a lot of Chekhov's guns around. Like, that statement is just very poignant, and especially right now, to even bring it up at all in a children's cartoon just seems like you were doing it to make a statement.
I think kids just like silly jokes, and that's a very silly joke.
So, is the owner like Israel, and then the dog is like the PLO, and then Butter Dog is Hamas, and then their neighbor is maybe the U.S.? I don't... Okay. Is that it? Or is there one more scene?
No. There's more. There's one more scene.
Okay, cool.
He leaves. Ming Mong leaves the room to hunt. It cuts to Butter Dog rolling a fat fucking blunt. Butter Dog's mouse hole has sparse decorations. He has one desk with a bust of Lenin on top. He also has a bookshelf filled entirely with communist theories and pulp novels. Butter Dog says this is the only fiction written by and for the proletariat. Butter Dog pauses. He glimpses a set of dog eyes that have descended out of their socket and are looking around the room.
I mean, you just...
He lights the blunt and puts the cherry out on Ming Mong's eye. That's all I got.
Yeah, there's just like a lot of like disconnected, poignant political themes. Because now the mouse, who has been described as Hamas, is now being exposed as a hardcore communist and so,
a Leninist.
Okay, a Leninist, which doesn't necessarily really align with Hamas. I mean, they are, I guess you could say, working for the downtrodden or whatever, but they don't have similar communist beliefs, really.
None of this stuff has to be connected.
Okay.
What?
So what's like the log line for the show is just
the log line?
A guy wants his dog
his dog to kill the mouse.
And that's the constant conflict, the same as Tom and Jerry, where the cat's always trying to kill the mouse.
Except that the Ming Mong and the mouse, they develop a very friendship that is at conflict with the Ming Mong's desire to please his owner, Julius Human. And so that there's constant conflict in there. The neighbor kind of comes in. He's friends with both of them. And he also is like, Julius is making a fool of the neighborhood. We live in the 3rd Ward of Houston. And
they're also in Houston,
yes, they're in Houston.
In the 3rd Ward.
Yeah. And he's always smoking sherm, and causing problems.
Yeah, there's just so many themes here. I mean, it's like there's a whole Houston thing, so people will find something in that. And then there's these like really poignant political moments which seem to be almost purposely ignored and moved on from as quick as possible, but still intentionally said. To the point that it's hard to remember the show is about a dog trying to catch a mouse.
I mean, I think that the kids will understand what we're going for.
Do they so they have hijinks where like
well, they have hijinks like the mouse is trying to build a bomb and the thing he's hiding below a hospital and he's building a bomb. And the mouse has to go get it. The dog has to go get him, and
the hospital's in the house.
There's he builds a hospital inside of the mouse hole.
to just build bombs under?
He calls it a human shield.
You're kind of dressed like an Israeli today. You're kind of dressed like an IDF guy. Or just you do also just look like a guy who used to be in the army and now you have a YouTube channel.
We're going to move past that. That's
you look nice. It's just that kind of look.
Yeah. I haven't wore this shirt in a very long time.
It's a good shirt.
Yeah, thank you. But how do you feel about it? You think it's a good idea?
I think there's a lot to grab onto. I think you could argue too much to grab onto. And I just think, I hope you know that everything you're writing seems to be sometimes directly reminiscent of the conflict in Israel-Palestine. But then there's also these weird contradictions which actually make it very hard to narrow down.
Well, I think that you're trying to build a narrative
like
of what it's
about. Like the Butter Dog
about.
and Ming Mong, I can kind of see the dynamic of maybe just the Palestinians themselves being torn apart. But then, you know, the owner, I guess you could say Israel has a certain ownership role with their dominance. And then, but then you have the U.S., you said they're friend of both, and the U.S. isn't friend of both. They're only friend to Israel. So maybe a friend of both would be, I don't know, like I don't know who is necessarily a friend of both. There's very few. There have been at different times. It's such a complex issue, and it seems to be directly involved with your cartoon.
You keep saying ridiculous stuff like this.
I guess I am, and I'm.
Yeah,
you know, but that's the issue. You got to you know the death of the author is you write.
Yeah. I wrote something, and
it's
then
how people interpret it. So I think
you might be the only person in the entirety that would hear about this cartoon and want to say that it's anything like the real world.
I think if you're gonna make a conflict between a cat and a dog, there are better examples to explain their relationship.
Like what?
Than modern conflict.
Like what? All right, maybe there's a little bit of influence. But it doesn't mean I'm commenting on it.
You are.
Just because I'm kind of influenced by the news, which to me is kind of Looney Tunes.
Yeah, okay, all right. So fuck you. So okay. So you were watching the news about the Israel-Palestine crisis.
It reminded me of fucking
where people are
Tom
dying.
And Jerry. I'm sorry.
And you said this is like Looney Tunes, and then you just wrote a show that also kind of just directly riffs off Tom and Jerry in a lot of ways. Like before we're even on the Palestine. So you like rip off famous cartoons, and then you just like abuse a crisis across the world to make points that you don't even seem to understand or be interested in that much, honestly.
I don't care. I saw it on the news.
These are things you've seen, but you don't care about. You don't seem to care about it at all. You're just sort of like, this is Looney Tunes, which is such a dismissive look at everything to just go, well, that's weird. It's obviously fucked up. You didn't even think about it.
Cartoons are weird.
Yeah.
That's the problem you have with cartoons. They're weird and dismissive.
Well, I don't know. Either way, oddly enough, I had an idea for a cartoon this week.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh shit! Let's hear it.
Yeah. So I don't know. I know I was kind of hard on you. I just hope you don't.
No. There's no offense taken. I mean, it's just the creative process is very difficult, and as you know, as another guy who comes up with ideas for cartoons.
Well, hopefully you'll be more understanding than me and understand that this is just something I just kind of pulled out of nowhere.
Yes. Okay.
So. It's about this. It's a cartoon about this guy named Plain Gyanchi, and he's like a musician that moved to L.A. from Smashville, which is just like a made-up town.
Smashville is very funny.
So he moved from
That's a very funny, like, the way it sounds is very funny.
Yeah, I thought it'd be good for the show. So I was just thinking of, like, what's a random word I can make up. The same with the name, Plain Gyanchi. So
Plain Gyanchi. I like it.
He's a musician that moved from Smashville, and he comes here, and everybody's just like so over it, and they're just like, this is just another one of these like only handsome guys that contributes nothing, and he's just gonna be like a fucking asshole around this, and nobody appreciates him. But then he meets this other musician named Cooper Lydon.
Oh, that's your name. Are you going to play him?
Find a name. I was like pulling stuff out of my ass.
Okay.
I was just like randomly choosing stuff.
Okay.
Complete rando mode. But then he meets we'll call him Cooper Lydon.
We'll call him that for its placeholder.
And then just like by merely standing next to him, people start looking at Plain Gyanchi, and they're like, wow, there's probably like a lot more to that handsome guy.
Okay.
And then in like episode 2, maybe 1, the guy Plain Gyanchi dies of lung cancer.
Really? What? Why?
Because he fucking had it, and it's bad, man. And
it's really bad to have that?
And he died. And it's just like super like heart-wrenching.
Yes.
And then like his friend Cooper, like the way he deals with it is actually like way more like admirable and memorable from the whole show.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have like 20 seasons of just like that guy Cooper going on and just like being like the best musician in the world. And then sometimes he's like, oh yeah, and he like kind of like thinks about the guy.
Is this inspired by anything?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting how much much more depth my idea had.
It's just like a good story.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very good story idea. I think I could definitely see it running for about 30 seasons. Simpsons.
Well, I had like character background if you.
Oh yeah. Let's hear about that. Yeah.
What do you want to hear about? What character? There's a lot of characters.
We gotta let's hear about Cooper Lydon. Let's see what his deal is.
He's pretty much just a guy that like kind of just gets up every day and tries to do his best and does.
Okay.
And is kind of just like not putting a lot of pressure on himself, but also like working like super hard and has like a pretty good body, but like it's like not really a big deal.
Oh, and, yeah. Okay. Is it based on Dan Donahue? Our friend Dan Donahue?
No.
Oh,
no,
okay.
Just random. Yeah, he's just like handsome and likable and comes from a good family.
Yeah, okay.
And just has like a lot of things going for him.
Oh, so this is kind of like, this is the character everyone attaches themselves to.
Pretty much, yeah.
This is the one they look at and they're like, and the plain, what's his name?
Plain
Gaiachi is kind of like, he's almost a heel in this situation of like maybe an underdog, but it's kind of trying to make the point that maybe the underdog doesn't always win.
No, I wouldn't say he's like really a heel. He's just
he's kind of a guy that's made to be unlikable.
He's just from a subsection of Smashville called Ratlin Hills.
Okay.
And pretty much he's from a place where earthquakes are just happening every single second.
Oh.
And the houses are made of rats.
Oh.
Every time he talks, he throws up. But other than that, he's just like a normal character.
Okay. Well, what sort of character detail do you have beyond that? Like, what's he like?
He's like people try and give him a chance when they talk to him.
Yeah, okay.
And they talk to him and they just are like severely disappointed.
Oh.
But then he starts hanging out with this character who we'll just for now call Cooper Lydon, and people are like, wow.
Okay.
This guy's great.
That's very interesting.
But writing shows is hard, you know?
It is very difficult.
Isn't it tough?
I mean, it's very difficult. You have like you'll tell your idea to your closest personal friends. They'll try to say it's about Israel. Like, is that what you said? Israel? Did you say Israel?
Yeah.
It's about that or something. It's like
Can I comment on your shock about that?
What?
Well, you gave a line to one of the characters where he mentions Hamas.
I had some help.
From who?
To my team.
Where are they? What's their deal?
You've never met them.
I know, I can tell.
There's 3 or 4 of them.
Where are they from?
Oakland. They're from Oakland, California.
They're from Oakland.
Yeah, they're from Oakland.
So they're 4 guys.
It's 4 guys
from Oakland.
They're from Oakland,
writing a show.
They're helping me.
About Houston, where a seemingly
it's kind of they're my
Zionist dog owner, I guess, is trying to kill a rat.
You could say that. You could say they're helping.
Okay, so I could say that from the show you wrote.
Yeah,
because you said that.
Yeah, I mean, well, why wouldn't I say your show's about Israel? Smashville sounds pretty close to Palestine to me.
No, it doesn't.
It sounds like almost exactly the same.
No, I think you're reaching.
Smashville? Palestine's getting smashed?
Everything I said is completely from just out of nowhere left field. Who knows where it came from? You can't even begin to decipher.
Well, I'm trying to say my creative process. Maybe it's because I talked to Muskrat, and he said to put that line in there.
Muskrat? Are these comedians from Oakland?
No, they're not comedians. They're just guys I know.
They're guys. Why? How do you know anybody from Oakland? You're from Nashville.
I went up there to look for guys.
What kind of guys?
Guys that can help.
Writers?
They do that. They can do that.
What else do they do?
They can look after your car. They can pump your gas.
So you got a bunch of homeless dudes.
They're not homeless. They're not homeless.
That's what the fuck people do in Oakland with homeless dudes is they will pay them to watch their car.
They're not home.
Why?
I met the first guy. Okay.
Why are
they're not homeless. They live in an RV.
Why are you describing things to a T and then when I say what they're saying, you say that's not what you're saying?
Because you always try to find like a negative spin on what I'm trying to...
Nothing is negative about what I've said. I'm just purely... These are countries that sound reminiscent of people you're describing, and these are types of people reminiscent of people you're describing. There's no good or bad ascribed to all of this, whether it's homelessness, Israel, whatever.
I will say, you say it's Israel. I said, like, I get why you say that. It is inspired by stuff I've seen on the news. But I will say Oakland, kind of Looney Tunes. And so that was another big influence is Oakland. There's some Looney Tunes stuff happen over there near that stadium.
A lot of this show is just based off your perception of the phrase Looney Tunes.
Well,
so just like bad government and like I guess like hostile conflicts or debatably ethnic cleansings, you call it Looney Tunes, and then you write a cartoon, and then you just bring up those things while also finding a way, rather impressively, to make 0 points about it. Like you almost like bring it up, but then it like you don't let it go anywhere. Even if you make a point about it, you let the point die before it can attach itself to anything. And yeah, so you have a very confusing show. I mean, you're throwing you're throwing so much at the audience. Why do these people in Houston have so many thoughts about Hamas and how it splits apart Palestinian peoples?
Because there's like kind of a similarity between what's happening in the house and what's happening out there.
What's happening? Okay, so you're admitting that what is happening inside the house is similar to what...
But it's not influenced, and it's not trying to make any points about it.
How is it not influenced? You made up the house.
Oh, wait.
It's like the house just exists by itself. You wrote it. Israel-Palestine already existed, then you wrote the show. The house isn't real. You made it up. Now you're upset.
You're trying to tell me 466 Cinderblock Avenue isn't real?
What?
That's the house. 466 Cinderblock Avenue.
Well, yeah, that's definitely not real. That's a fake house you made up for a cartoon that you are heavily relating to the Israel-Palestine conflict. And if you're going to do this, if you're going to make points about a modern conflict, I think you should just be very clear and succinct about what you want to say, because it's a confusing topic with more than just two sides.
Maybe. Okay, so maybe I'm making these connections.
Okay.
It's for the people watching to maybe decide what it's trying to say. And like maybe it's just because it's to start you thinking, and it starts the kids off thinking. They're 6 years old. They're already thinking about these complex things.
Yeah, but when you say start off thinking, you are presenting ideas from a specific perspective, debatably biased. So if you're getting them thinking, you're going to be getting them thinking in a certain direction. You have to think about the direction. If you want it to be in no direction, then you'd just be writing a full documentary stating only factual things about the conflict.
I feel like that's already kind of where I'm at.
No, it's not. You're writing a cartoon about cats and dogs and mouses and dogs. And
a human.
And the names
and there's one
and the names are confusing. All the names, every name you made is confusing. None of them have any... BoJack Horseman's names have like themes. There's like themes to how people are named. There's like a certain pattern, because there are themes in how people are named in certain cultures. So it would make sense that if you create a culture, they'd all have similar sounding names. You have Julius Human, you have Ming Mong, you have Butter Dog. Julius Human is like the closest to a name. Ming Mong maybe is the closest to a name. I don't know if that means anything in another language, but it doesn't sound like English. Butter Dog is a full nickname. And then you have Doc, middle name Tur, last name Kitty Cat, right?
Yeah,
Who's a human?
Yes, sir.
And Julius Human is a cat?
Yes.
Okay. That's similar to BoJack, where just everybody's kind of everything. But
Well, yeah. It's like all the species exist together.
Yeah, but not necessarily. They exist at different sort of developmental levels, to where a dog is subordinate to a cat and a human, and a mouse subordinate to all of those.
A mouse is not subordinate. It's not subordinate. Well, actually, never mind. He is. He is subordinate to Ming Mong. Now that I'm thinking about it.
You seem sad about it.
I thought maybe that the conflict would not. That's not what that meant. But
listen, I think you wrote with a lot of passion and intensity, and I think you had so many things flying around your head that you didn't necessarily think of like a plot and just a general direction and tone.
Well, I didn't finish it yet.
Because I will say there's not necessarily a general theme or tone to the show, because you have the Houston thing. Okay, they're also poor, right? Is part
yes,
of this?
They live in the third ward.
Okay, so it's not just Houston, but it's also poor people. So that's a big theme of the show. It's not King of the Hill. They're not a middle class family. They're poor,
Yeah.
And he's a single cat man that has a whole house to himself, though. Or is he in an apartment? Is he in like Section 8 housing?
He's in a he is in a house. They're renting a house.
Okay, so it's not Section 8. He's just renting.
It's not.
A house.
Yeah. He's probably not going to get his deposit back because he made the mouse hole.
Yeah, because he's addicted to Sherm, getting paranoid that other motherfuckers are saying he doesn't have a mouse hole. That's also confusing, because it's like, because you're saying that it's also interesting because you're kind of saying that, like, which goes with the Israel thing, is that by creating the mouse hole, he kind of, I guess, created a terrorist problem.
I mean, that is a way to look at it. That's a thing I was thinking about when I was...
But then you're also saying that the other houses, a.k.a. countries, are making fun of him for not having a terrorist problem, which in actuality, it's not like...
Well, it was a thing in
it's
his...
not like other countries are making
Well,
fun.
he was on Sherm, and he thought that they were...
So that's just paranoia.
It was just
can't
paranoia,
relate that to anything.
Yeah.
And that's also confusing, because you're making points and really deep metaphors, but then you're also involving a paranoia on the narrator themselves that destroys the metaphor, builds up their character. So it's almost like your whole show is sort of like building things up, breaking them down to build a whole other part of the show. Like you break down a tone to build a character, and then a plot, and then a character to build a plot, and it's very interesting.
I'm kind of trying to do something no one's ever done before.
I can tell, but you have to understand, when you sell a show, even if it's something nobody's ever done before, it still needs to be a thing. You know, it's just got to be a thing. It has to have something that's clear.
Well, it's a new thing. It's not a thing because it's never been a thing before.
Yeah, but you're so many. All these things could be like 4 different shows. Is what I think. You need to pick one. You need to take out politics and keep in the conflict, or take out the conflict and keep in the like. There's just.
But where's the politics without the conflict?
Right. You know. So, yeah.
So I don't know what you're trying to give me advice, and you clearly don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I mean, you came up with a really good show. I mean, that's probably not going to happen again. Considering how you're talking about my show, that you probably could only come up with that one show that's a really good idea, but that's probably the only one.
I just feel like you think you made a show that's going to like change the fundamental thinking of the world. And
I think it'll change the fundamental thinking.
But that's not going to be possible if it doesn't have a fundamentally directed thought pattern in the show itself, which it doesn't. It's all over the place, man.
You're asking me...
Yeah.
You're asking me right now. I made a first draft. You're asking
you wanted to share it on the podcast, so it's not like it's just something
you're asking me to redefine bread.
I'm not asking you to do anything. This is a show you wrote on your own volition. I think you're asking yourself to redefine bread.
And I think I'm being pretty successful at it. I mean, here's the thing, if you don't have enemies, which now you're my enemy, you're not saying anything.
So who's the protagonist?
It's I would say the protagonist is Ming Mong,
who kind of represents the Palestinian Authority, the other ruling faction of the Palestinian state.
That's the Cooper interpretation, yes.
It's a very moderate point, I guess. I guess a lot of people, if they really had to pick somebody, might side with the Palestinian Authority because, you know, I guess they've been responsible for no terrorist attacks, but and you're funding this? Nobody else is asking you to write this show? This is all your idea?
It's all my idea. I'm not going to fund it. I'm going to probably try to meet with some financiers to maybe fund it.
Some Hollywood financiers?
Yeah, I haven't made any meetings yet.
Fund your pro-Palestine cartoon? You're going to get some Hollywood financiers for your pro-Palestine cartoon.
It's not. I don't know. I don't think they're going to read the same thing.
I think it is.
I don't think they're going to read the same politics that you read into it. And if they do, I'm going to be like, well, I can, like, we can keep doing what I'm doing, and you guys can just trust me.
Why would they ever, if they don't like
I'm gonna wow them at the meeting.
I think you're gonna confuse the fuck out of a lot of people. You're making so many different points all at the same time. It's like one of the most confusing cartoons I've ever heard.
Well, it's because you're not ready.
Like, what's Rick and Morty about, That's an old guy and a young guy.
It's an old guy, it's a young guy.
One's an inventor. He's almost like God, I guess, because he's so good at inventing.
Yeah.
He almost killed God with his inventions, you could say. And then there's Morty, who's kind of an apprentice, sort of.
Yes.
And they go around, and that's it.
Well, yeah, the thing of my show...
And within that, they might make points about space-time and our world and whatever. I don't watch the show, but I've heard they try to go a little deep. Okay, but that's a basic tone, a basic...
I would like to think that Rick and Morty and BoJack Horseman and South Park and stuff kind of like paved the way for Ming Mong and Butterdog.
And that's the name of the show?
Yes.
It's a long name.
Ming Mong and Butterdog.
I mean, it's like 2 compound words,
What would you suggest?
Tom and Jerry. Ming Mong and Butterdog. You see how there's less of a ring? Tom and Jerry.
Ming Mong and
Horace
Butterdog.
And Pete,
Ming Mong and Butterdog. Sounds really good to me. Sounds like it rolls off the tongue.
Ming Mong. Where's that from? How'd you get that name?
I was walking in my neighborhood.
Were you walking by like a grocery store of a certain type?
No.
You weren't like in any kind of certain kind of
I don't. There's no ethnic thing with this.
Okay, well his name is fucking Ming Mong.
So do you think that's an Asian name?
I'm saying it sounds like you made an Asian name up in your head and you named the fucking dog that, is what it sounds like, Shane. And I don't like that I'm being accused of all these things when you're making me say this. When you set up all this, when you wrote every single one of these things into your big show, and when I bring up what anybody listening to this is thinking, all of a sudden I'm coming out of left field.
Comment underneath if you think Cooper is being a buzzkill.
I mean, buzzkill?
Yeah, a lot of people are going to comment on this.
Am I ruining your time on the podcast right now?
You're killing my buzz. I was like flying high thinking about this fucking cartoon.
I mean, do you think the cartoon makes fucking sense?
Of course I do.
Do you think it makes any sense? Of course I do. In what way?
Because it's like a classic conflict between mouse and cat, and it's also a classic conflict between the self. It's a classic conflict between the powers that be. You don't even know what your own
show's about. You said mouse and cat. You don't even know what your own show's about.
I said mouse and dog. Mouse and dog.
You said mouse and cat.
Well, I got it mixed up
also,
because
can I just why everybody's gonna be thinking this watching it, even without the weird politics stuff. Why the fuck is this human-sized cat not trying to kill the fucking mouse? It would be better at it. It's more.
He's a drug addict. He's a fucking drug addict. He's going outside.
He's on PCP. They're pretty fucking violent. I think he could have the get up and go to kill a mouse. I think he could actually make it his whole fucking mission.
No, he went outside.
I mean, there are so many fundamentally confusing things just with the dynamic alone before you even get into the weird political references. That it's like for people to even begin to understand the political references, they're going to have to get past this weird cat that's buying a dog to kill a mouse. Who's ever bought a dog to kill a mouse?
He already has the dog.
Okay.
He has had the dog.
We all know a dog's not going to get a mouse. They're not great at that.
I also didn't get to go into Julius Human's backstory.
Please.
So, Julius, this takes place in the 70s. So during
why?
Because it makes the Vietnam stuff.
Why?
So 30 years prior, Julius is about 4 years old, he's about 40 years old.
Wait. So in 1940, Julius is 40 years old. He's born in 1900. Now he's
no.
in 1970.
No. Actually, I said this wrong. He was 40 years old during the time of the show. He was 10 years old in 1940.
Okay, so he's born he's born right around the Great Depression.
Yes. Okay. So during the time, he and his family were placed into camps. And they did not get to eat. Many of them did not make it. There was just an anti-cat thing going on.
He's born in America?
He was born in America. He was born in Houston.
And he was put into Japanese internment camps, like the ones in...
Not in Japanese internment camps. Closer to...
Cat camps?
Closer to concentration camps than internment camps, even though they're both the same. So this is an alternate
reality where in America there was a Holocaust against cat-human hybrids?
Yes.
Okay. That's way different. So the Nazis, who are a little different because they're killing cats, kind of won the war and made it to America? Or is America doing this?
America was doing this, and then it was destroyed by France. It was all taken down by France. So America is in an economic... it has like kind of an economic struggle right now. So because they had to sign a treaty. They had to sign a treaty, and... They lost a lot of their trading rights.
Okay, wait. So this is getting even more confusing. So in this world, America is playing the role of World War I Germany, who waged a war, lost, was heavily sanctioned by the rest of the world. But the World War I is also combined with World War II because in this war that got them sanctioned and fucked up their economy, they were doing the Holocaust. So you're kind of combining the two world wars into the First World War. So there's not a second world war in this world.
No.
There's the one where the Holocaust against cat people was committed. The U.S. was sanctioned and defeated by France. And so now in the 70s, we are living in a post-single world war America.
In which Vietnam still happened.
Sure. Yeah. So we have one world war where America is essentially Germany.
Yes.
And then after being Germany... we somehow have the ability to fight the Vietnam War for it's like
that was kind of
like a long time. It was a long war.
That was our attempt to because France wanted to take down.
So we're helping France.
We were helping France to try to make up for what we did.
Did Julius Human fight in either of these wars? Did he fight?
He wasn't able to. He didn't pass the he didn't pass the mental health. Because he was kind of
too young.
He was too young.
Okay, so he was almost holocausted in the First World War.
Yes.
By his own country.
Yes.
And then he stayed in his own country.
He loves Houston.
Okay. So he stays, and then by the Vietnam War, which is just the same as the normal world, yes. We're just out of the whole cat. Fuck it. Just who gives a fuck? Vietnam. Let's not even write anything. He's too old for that war.
Yes, he's too old. But even if he had been the right amount of age, he would not have passed the mental health.
But his neighbor, Dr. Kitty Cat,
yes,
went to Vietnam. So Vietnam is over by this time, though.
Yes, sir.
But he kind of just got back.
He's been back for about a year.
Okay, and he lives alone. He has a house.
Yeah, he lives alone.
And he's like a man with PTSD who lives alone. Why does he doesn't have a family?
No, he doesn't. He doesn't work either. He gets money from the government.
Okay, so he lives in a shitty house in a shitty neighborhood in 3rd Ward.
Next door to a cat.
Who's just one of many animals who own houses because
there's not a lot.
Okay,
well, it's mostly humans.
Do you realize how much you step on your toes with this? Are they the only talking animals in the show? Do they face discrimination? I mean, well, then again, if they're the only ones, then how many were killed in the cat Holocaust? Is that why there's less?
I mean,
did he
that's part of it.
The cat population?
No, there's plenty of talking animals in the world. It's just we don't see many of them.
Also, with this...
We don't see many characters.
With this weird American Holocaust thing, was it just cat people or was it all animal people?
It was just cat people.
So there were are there also full-size dogs that walk and talk like humans or only dogs like Ming Mong who act only as dogs?
Ming Mong that's the only type of dog they have.
So what
and they're all hound dogs.
What animals also double as humans? Because so far only...
Cat's the only one.
Oh. Okay.
And mice, but mice are so small you don't notice.
So in this world, there's humans, there is a minority population of human-sized cats who walk and talk as humans. Do they breed with humans or only with each other?
With each other.
Okay. And then there are all the types of humans, black, white, everybody. Also,
yes.
And then also cat humans. And then all the other animals. And sometimes the cats will own dogs, just like a human would.
Well, yeah, because...
Which is kind of surprising, for you think if a cat human had a pet, they might not get a dog. Famously, they have beef with each other, so that's also interesting.
That doesn't exist here.
There's no cat-human conflict.
No.
And are there regular cats?
Oh, no, you mean cat-dog conflict. There's no cat-dog. No, there's not regular cats.
Okay, so just in this timeline, somewhere along the evolutionary chain, cats got in the mix with Homo sapiens. And resulted in these...
They're the missing link.
They look like the characters in the Broadway play Cats.
Yes.
Okay. And that's the world we live in. And I guess kind of because of that, because that's the only difference we're noticing in this world, that change caused a distinctly different record of world wars, where Germany, for some reason, has no ambition and no involvement in any world wars. And
Germany is the equivalent of China today.
In the 70s?
Germany's
as powerful as China
is right now, yes, in the 70s.
In this show?
Yes.
How powerful is America?
It's kind of weakened, but it's kind of getting its footing back.
So, like, the major world powers are America and Germany?
America, Germany, France.
But, I mean, Germany being as powerful as China today would squash France.
Absolutely.
So... Really,
the major world power is Germany.
Yeah, because America's been weakened. But if we weren't, then we would contend with Germany.
Yes.
And Germany has no Holocaust type ambition. No Hitler over there.
Nothing.
Hitler
like
doesn't exist. Also, was he turned into a cat kind of in this world, or?
Hitler was born without legs.
Or he does. Okay, so that stopped a lot of political ambition.
Yes.
But yeah, this whole cat hybrid thing like changes the course of humanity.
It's not even a hybrid. They're just cats.
So they
kind of act like humans.
Can they speak?
Yes.
Well, they don't just kind of act like humans, and they're definitely not just cats if they can talk like me and you.
Their vocal cords are very different than normal cats.
They sound like this.
No. They kind of sound like John Hickok.
So they're all just like, "Hey, I'm a cat."
Yeah.
Yeah. So pretty much, like, I'm a cat.
Yeah. And then they also have that the Houston accent in the show.
The character? How would you describe the specifically Houston accent?
You'd have to watch it. I can't really do it.
So they have like deep voices like John, like all man would.
Yes,
they all do.
The majority.
And then they have a Houston accent.
The characters in the show, not the ones that live in the major cities in America during the time.
So they kind of just sound like they're guys in a Screw song.
Yeah.
Mr. Ming Mong, we gotta get that mouse out the house.
Yeah. No.
Partner.
Before we go, I do want to make the major cities in America during the time are Houston, of course, New Orleans, Atlanta, Raleigh, North Carolina, and Los Angeles.
New York is why? No, Chicago, New York?
There are a lot of cats lived in New York.
And they suck at economy?
Well, the New York got destroyed because basically all the cats in New York got killed.
Okay. Not a lot of cats live in the South?
A lot of people... No, not a lot. But a lot of people...
The South is
a lot of New York got destroyed when they were trying to liberate the camps. The majority of the camps were in New York City.
Okay. Did the Civil War happen in this world?
Oh, yeah.
Who was it between?
Union and Confederates.
Are the cats, were they on both sides? The same
there
as the
was
humans?
Cats. There was brother stabbing brother.
So cats fought for the Unions and Confederate.
Yes.
Wow. I like the show a lot more now that something about the world I think is definitely the most interesting part of the show.
No, the most interesting part is the dynamic between Ming Mong and Better Dog. Because that's what's important and that's what we're going to focus on. We might have a couple episodes about the world, but...
Okay, but you understand that your main characters are the most uninteresting characters in the entire show. Even the other human is more interesting. These animals have, like, almost nothing...
Hey, we're making this for kids. Dogs are cute, and then mice are cute. And
yeah,
they like
but
that dynamic.
This whole world that's been created by this weird cat hybrid. I mean, Germany, the World Wars, the Holocaust in America. Who was our president at the time? Who committed this atrocity? How'd this happen?
Lincoln. Nah, wait. I actually haven't decided what president it was yet. But
was it the same one at the time of the Holocaust?
No, that guy wouldn't have done it.
Okay.
It was probably Barry Goldwater.
He won.
In
this world, he won.
He won in the 40s.
Barry Goldwater won in your world. Is this an idyllic world?
No, this is terrible.
Okay.
This is terrible what happened.
Just trying to get a basis. Because you are from the South, and I noticed in your show the South is like really powerful.
It's the most powerful area in the United States.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
Other than Los Angeles.
Yeah, which is even still technically Southern, but definitely not the South.
Yeah.
Your face changed when I said that. So yeah, the South is like really strong, which is confusing.
They lost the Civil War, if that's what you're going to ask.
Right.
They lost.
But then they regained more power after the Holocaust.
Yes.
Which wiped out the North. So I'm kind of wondering, the Holocaust, the people that put that in action, were they Southern officials that wanted this to happen? Was this more...
Oh, no, they wanted nothing to do with it.
So it was orchestrated by elites in Washington.
Yes.
Yankees.
It was.
Orchestrated a Holocaust against cats.
Well, they're quoted as saying, we're doing our own slavery. The Yankees are saying that.
So they enslaved the cats?
No, but they mean like metaphorically,
yeah.
Like they're doing something just
why
as
do
bad.
Why do the Yankees hate the cats? Are the cats Republican?
No. Well, they just had...
It seems like the cats are New York elites that would all be on
no.
the Union side.
Well, so the cats are... The cats are just... They just wanted an ethnic like cleansing of the cats. They just didn't like the cats. The cats are taking up a lot of land.
How long have the cats been in America in this belief?
Forever.
Is
the
America
whole time.
colonized the same way, or?
Yes.
Okay.
There were native cats in America.
Oh. Yeah, because cats are kind of like humans. They're not really any one culture. So there were like indigenous cats, but then also European cats came over.
Yes.
Interesting. That's, yeah, I'm trying to get a handle on everything.
Well, that's all time we have.
Oh, wait. I'm sorry. Can I just ask?
Oh, yeah.
We've asked so much. Is the conflict in Israel-Palestine the same? Because they even bring it up. So it kind of sounds like
it's the same.
Okay, well.
Duh, it's the same.
The world wars were not. So I thought maybe that.
Well,
because you understand that Israel-Palestine, it's severely affected by World War I and the outcomes of it. So.
Well, yeah, it just so happened that all that stuff kind of fell together. It happened the exact same way.
Because Israel really doesn't exist without, like...
It still exists in this universe. Anyway.
It's just the world wars were really big impetuses for the creation of Israel in a lot of ways.
No. I know that. It's just in this world.
The loss of Ottoman control.
No. I know this. Just, no.
The British taking over.
Hey. Don't question this. I didn't question you at all. I questioned nothing about you.
All right. I'm sorry I questioned you.
So I'm going to be pitching this show. If you guys want to support me, please post about hashtag Get Ming Mong and Butterdog on Nickelodeon.
So long.
Hashtag Shane Bianchi deserves Ming Mong and Butterdog on Nickelodeon. Hashtag Shane Ming Mong and Butterdog cartoon.
Can't have it on Nickelodeon if you're talking about Hamas. You know that.
All right. Bye, everybody.
All right. Well, I'll see you next week. We don't hang out in between the show.
No, we don't.
This is a working relationship.
Yes, and 100%.
Thank you.
Bye.